Hello again, I'm Greg. So I completed my 70th book just this morning, and I'm not going to share that with you out of any sense of vanity or ego, but I was given some perspective by that. And also, what I wanted to share was a sense that even though this is a big number, especially for monographs, and that total includes no edited volumes, no slim volumes of poetry, no co authors, nothing. It's been all me all night, as they say. And yet, the writer that I idolize more than any other, this may be very quaint of me, is none other than H.G. Wells, the person who is co credited, at the very least, for inventing a number of new genres, including the speculative fiction and science fiction genre, which is so dear to the 20th century and carries over its influence into the 21st. If you think about all of that genre, which I've written a little bit in myself, almost more as a tip of the hat to Wells than anything else. What would we be without science fiction, in a sense, right? In another way, we could ask that same question: what would we be without science, and what would we be without fiction? Okay, on the one hand, we have fact; on the other, we have fantasy, and it plays into our sense of our very consciousness. We are unique human consciousness, that which makes us what we are, because of the confluence of reason on the one side and imagination on the other. Reason gives way to fact, it admires it, it pursues it, it has a sense that it is of the truth of things, and yet, without imagination, our reason would be hobbled, in the same way that we could say vice versa. Imagination is given over to fantasy, if you will, is given to creating things that aren't real or aren't yet real. And if you put those two things together, we have not only on the one side our basic human consciousness, again, unique as far as we know, but as well we have in our products and our projects, science fiction is the epitome of the mixing, if you will, of reason and imagination. And that's why I certainly admire it, even though I don't myself write very much of it or have not done so thus far. And so this is more sort of a paean to science fiction itself and to the founder or the father of that genre, H.G. Wells. Now, I've written 70 books. It sounds great, fantastic, well done, but Wells himself wrote 110. So I'm still 40 books shy of my idol's total. That said, Wells is, of all serious authors in the modern period, the second most prolific author of all time, behind only, what do you know, Isaac Asimov, another famous scientist and science fiction writer. So there's something about maybe that genre and that combination. Wells himself was a student of the sciences. That was what his degree was in. He was not a literary character in any way, and yet he became one, right? He was nominated for the Nobel Prize no less than 4 times. He never won it. And it would be a stretch to imagine that someone like myself could even be nominated the once. But what I do plan to do, if I live long enough, is catch up to Wells's total again as a tribute to him, and maybe, just maybe, write that 111th book and myself become second only to Isaac Asimov. So thanks for entertaining me about that. But the main point is, of course, is that science fiction is as unique as is our human consciousness. It's something to be celebrated, something to be admired, and whether it's your kind of go-to fiction genre or not, I'd ask you to give it another chance, give it another consideration, because after all, Wells wrote many famous science fiction books, but he wrote a slew of other novels as well, character-based novels, failed art novels, as some literary critics said at the time. And hey, I know all about writing a failed art novel myself. So Wells in his giant catalog, there's really something for everyone there. It's absolutely not all about science fiction. And Wells was a keen and insightful observer of the human condition as we can all hope to be ourselves. So many other novels that either have very few science fiction elements in them or sometimes only one speculative element, and then many that had none at all. Okay? So if you're looking at Wells only as a science fiction author, look again in the same way. And I got that perspective myself because when I look back now, just for a moment, of course, on this day where my 70th book is completed, and I look back and say, there's probably something for everyone in there somewhere. So again, let's not read a book by its cover. Let's not come to any particular author, especially an author such as Wells, and think that, okay, he's just that, or he just did that well. Okay? And remember that although he wrote 51 novels, that still leaves 59 other books which weren't fiction at all. Okay? All of his histories, all of his science books, even manuals, and there's even an early book on gaming, the first one that I've ever heard of, which came out in 1913. It's called War in Miniature. Okay, so even for gamers, Wells might have invented that genre as well. Not the games themselves, of course, because those go back perhaps a couple more centuries. But in writing about games, it seems that Wells is also the first person to have taken that on. Okay. Anyway, this is just a quick note because I haven't posted a video for quite a while, and I apologize for that. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, and I thank you again for listening.